The latest. Thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you all. These people came into the continent, divided us according to this politician. And after they finished dividing us, they now told us to fear ourselves. We have to keep away from each other. That when they finished doing that, they went back home to Europe. And these people are moving freely among themselves. Until date, what they taught us still prevails. Africans cannot walk within the African continent freely. We are still staying away from one another and still see one another as enemies. But these people, that when you get to Europe, they're just moving among themselves freely. They don't need any visa to travel to any European nation. But that when we want to travel there, the visa restrictions, the amount of money, the paperwork, it's not even the problem, like the money we pay to them. And at the end of the day, when they refuse to give us the visa, they still refuse to give us the money back. And then what is the most painful aspect is how Africans, even till date, cannot move among themselves. Look at the visa restrictions that we have imposed on ourselves. These people did an amazing work. Their systems, even though they are no longer with us, are still working for them perfectly. Today, the African do not see the brother as the brother. We are so scared and we are put apart. We cannot do anything in common because these people are doing everything possible to make sure it doesn't work by leaving the systems behind. And these systems, we are not willing to do away with them. We know the problem, but how to unite is the problem.
My brothers and sisters, I think let us be a bit realistic about what is going on in the world today. Many years ago, in Berlin, Europeans sat down and subdivided our continent, at times separating a brother from our sister. After they finished doing that and colonizing us, they went ahead and taught us to fear, hate, and keep away from each other. So you are my neighbor, but I fear you, and I don't want to mingle with you. Let me give you an example and use a few African examples. Today, it is easier for a European to travel within Europe without requirement of a visa. They can trade, make money, visit each other, spend money, and the European Union area, they make a lot of money, they're becoming rich and rich every day. In Africa, our former colonies and what they taught us still prevails. Then they mingle among each other. Today in Africa, the reality is that for an African to visit a European nation, an ordinary African, to visit a European nation, is like, let me give you an example my teacher used to use. It's like trying to milk an elephant because of the visa process. However, for a European to visit an African nation, most of our nations, it is like a walk on the beach. It's like going to have a cup of tea. But then that is not the problem. The tragedy is that now for an African to visit a fellow African within the African Union, the visa restrictions in many of our nations, among us, between our brothers and sisters, is like trying to brush the teeth of a crocodile. They came, divided us, and they have taught us to keep each other from each other. Then they're mingling with each other and making money and growing, but they have taught us to hate each other. But for us to really enjoy the true economic benefits of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, we need to behave like the Europeans and allow for the free movement of people and trade. Our development agencies, such as the African Union Development Agency and others, cannot really succeed when there are all these restrictions among ourselves. To this end, in our contribution to this continental aspiration, Kenya is committed to progressively, and we are moving very fast by the end of this year, to abolish visas to citizens from African Union member states to make it easier to invest and do business in Kenya and across the continent. We are going to open the borders of Kenya. We do not fear our fellow Africans. Come, travel to Kenya. Live, do business in Kenya, trade, make money in Kenya. And we hope we'll get reciprocity with the rest of you. Let us open our continent so that we can make money and live together. Let us remove the shackles of colonialism that are still embedded in our heads and be able to move forward. Mr. Chairperson, Excellencies, climate change continues to ravage lives and livelihoods of millions. We must remain faithful in the implementation of decisions that we make in our sessions. Let me say something that some of you may not like. African Union needs to be self-reliant. As long as the bulk of the AU funds come from outside the African continent, we somehow will find ourselves dancing to the music that is not of our own making. Therefore, we must address the issue of reforms that will enable us to fund our own programs. Funding that comes from our friends is good, but it needs to be funding that is in support of our programs and not our lifeline. Therefore, this calls for a critical look at the architecture of the African Union and the way we implement our decisions and the way we fund this continent. It's a discussion that we must have, and we must agree to ourselves that we need to take care of ourselves so that others can support us, but we are not being told to dance. My teacher used to say that at times when you're wearing somebody's suit, you know, and you start dancing, they start telling you slow down because you may ruin that suit. You know, we want to wear our own suits and dance the way we want, not to the tunes of other people.
Must we in this 21st century still find it difficult to walk among ourselves freely? What is it that is in your brother that you are so scared of? But these ones can just come into the continent, walk among us, do whatever, and they go out freely without anybody doing anything to them. We so love and cherish these people, but we find it so difficult to love ourselves. See how we bow and worship these people, but we can never transfer that love to our brothers. It is high time as Africans that we rise up and fight against this disease. We have to love ourselves, fight for ourselves, make sure we decolonize all these things. These are all the colonial things that we need to decolonize. We have to start seeing our brothers as one people. We have to start loving ourselves and make sure that that which is dividing us, we do away with it. We cannot continue to live here and still find it difficult to appreciate who we are and love our brothers, but always show that love to other people when they come into the continent. We still don't know that these things are all benefiting the oppressor. They created all these divisions, and these things are making them have control over us. Why is it that the people that divided us and made us to fear ourselves and to move away from ourselves are living together happily, and they do everything in common back wherever they come from? Yet we are still holding on to that division, fighting among ourselves, and we still expect that at the end of the day we should move forward. It will never happen. We really need to love ourselves, fight for ourselves, and make sure we progress, because there is no other person that can give us that freedom we are yearning for. We are the only ones that can set ourselves free, and the time is now for the African to fight for that which is rightful his. Do away with all these things that are fighting against our progress and our own interests and stopping us to reach our destination. United we stand, divided we fall, and united we keep standing forever and ever. The greatest enemy of the African is mental slavery. So let's decolonize ourselves from mental slavery. Let's keep sharing to educate our brothers and sisters. Together we make African great for ourselves and the next generations that are going to come. So that's the latest around the world and in Africa.